All good, brother.
So
I
we've
appreciate
got
it.
5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, hey,
If you want to just chill and have a cafe latte or something,
nah, let's just dig into it, man.
let's dig in.
I'm excited to talk to you. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. Got to talk about the show, the live stream, the new single, look back a little bit. But let's start with the new single, man. I'm really digging the new single Face Down, and it seems like a perfect tune for right now lyrically. You're kind of curious, how long had you been working on it? Did it start during the
It
pandemic?
was it was instantaneously written in like 15 minutes.
Wow, one of those. I just came right to you.
I was playing on a new keyboard I have called the Pro 3, Sequential Pro 3, and I was just messing around on it and came up with like a cool bass line using a side chain gate to kind of so it gives it this pumping effect. Wobble, 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 wobble. And that's my imitation. And I kind of wrote this simple little song on it, and then next thing you know, I was kind of started singing "Face Down." You left me here, face down, and I just uh, I just recorded the vocals really quickly. The lyrics are real simple, and it was one of those songs that just took a few minutes, and then I wanted some guitar on it, and so I said, Johnny, just do blow wild, as they say in jazz. Blow wild, bro.
Ad lib.
And he wrote a great guitar part for it in like a day or so, and then my drummer came in later on, and we recorded drums for it, and it just fell together really quickly, and the label loved it, and so that's why it's out.
I
It's
love it, man.
yeah,
Love
yeah,
rocking it on the radio, and it's the second new one. For the Beaten was the first one,
yeah.
and all leading up to a new album at some point this year.
Yeah, there's a new record coming out in August. And it's probably the best thing I've done in 20 years.
Wow.
It's without a doubt, because what happened was I ended up buying a brand new studio, and
Mhm.
I was doing movie scores, and in between movie scores I would just be like frustrated because you have to pay attention to everybody in a movie score. You have to worry about the director, and you have to worry about, you know, the uh the producers and everybody. And you know, filter is completely my thing. Like, it is to the point where the fans are even confused as to, like, like, because Hey Man Nice Shot was so heavy,
Mhm.
then Take a Picture was so light. They're
Right.
like, "What's going on with you? I don't even sound like Filter sometimes. Like, I'm so creatively outward, and I can do so many things with my voice that, like, I want to express different emotions other than just industrial, hateful stuff.
Right.
Although this record is actually really heavy. It's
Mm.
probably the heaviest thing we've done. For the Beaten is a pretty good example of how heavy how, I mean, people aren't even aware that that's a guitar they're listening to.
Yeah.
Because I had a friend, Zach Monowitz, who wrote 3 songs on the new album. He was amazing, and yeah, so he sent in his tracks, and I just put them in an order, like I arranged them, and then sang stuff over the top of them, and it was, there it is, a brand new Filter song.
I
So
love it.
yeah, I mean, just tons of creativity on this album, and I'm really psyched for it. I'm really happy about it. It came out great. Brian Virtue mixed it. Elias Malin plays drums throughout the whole record. Johnny Radke's all over it, my guitar player. Bobby Miller is the bass player. He played great. He's an amazing bass player. And yeah, just a lot of fun.
Love it, man. Looking forward to the album and been rocking the new tune Face Down. And also wanted to touch upon the live stream, California Screamin' on hitcore.com coming up here on June 17th. And
Mhm.
your first live streaming, is it going to be a lot of the new album? Is it going to be kind
It's
of
gonna be, we're supposed to play for like an hour and 15 minutes. It's gonna be a lot of new stuff for sure.
great?
Um, but I have to visit the classics. We have 8 records of material, so we try and play at least 2 or 3 songs off of each record. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And live streaming, I saw Ministry do this at Hitcore. They did theirs there, and they seemed so amazingly professional, and it was done so well that we were like, hey, what do you think, Filter, do one? And they were like, yeah, let's do one. So I am really excited. It's going to be our first, live streaming event, and it's going to be great because it'll always be there. Like it'll be, 20 songs or something, 20 some odd songs live that you can see anytime you want. And I'm just super pumped about it. It'll be a record of where we're at right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like a greatest hits record live.
Yeah. Yeah. Live. Exactly.
And speaking of live, we do have you live in our market out in the Inland Empire in California at Rock N Brews inside Yaamava Casino the day before the live stream on the
Mhm.
16th, which I imagine will be kind of a dress rehearsal for that
It'll
live.
be a warm up. It'll
Yeah.
be a great warm up. Yeah, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I hope my voice can handle it because it's a lot. There's like 5 days of rehearsal, then there's the show at the casino, and then there's the show at the at Hitcore. So I mean, I got to make sure I manage my voice just right, which is fun, which is always a challenge, but it's always, it's just something you got to do when you're a singer. So.
You were talking earlier about the diversity in music, like Take a Picture versus Hey
Mm,
Man, Nice Shot. And
yeah.
when you put together a set list, do you have to be concerned about, putting too many screamy songs together and too many mellow? Does that affect the set list, your
Well,
voice?
some songs are so hard to sing. Like Where Do We Go From Here is a rarity just because it is so high. I painted myself into a corner when I did that song. And yeah, it's you have to kind of, I have to really warm up before every show, and I have to take care of myself. I cannot get sick.
Yeah.
Like I can't, like I'm out there and COVID's still a thing. I can
Right.
easily catch COVID. And so I have to be really cool. I have to wear a mask everywhere I go. So I feel like Scar-Lord, wearing a mask everywhere. And but yeah, it's just one of those things. You got to get used to it. You got to take care of yourself. You got to make sure your voice sounds great every time, because there's always those people that are unforgiving and they're like, "Singer sucks now. Can't sing anymore. His voice is gone." Like there's always those really, really, really nice, accepting people who really care. And I mean that sarcastically.
Speaking of live shows, I got to touch upon you, dude, this past weekend. How was the Sick New World Festival for you? What was that experience like for you? Did you
That
see with
was
friends?
Yeah, that was amazing. It was great. So many of my heroes. Like I literally was watching Skinny Puppy, and
Yeah.
I almost started crying because it was so nostalgic. There were these two kids that were wearing Skinny Puppy shirts right next to me. I went out to the audience and I just
Oh, wow.
mixed in with the audience after we played. Like our show was flawless. We had a great show. It was amazing. I was really happy. There's clips of it online on YouTube. Just look up Filter Sick New World.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, the pressure's off. So you get that huge sense of relief, like, okay, the show's over. Now what? So I went and saw Skinny Puppy,
Nice.
and I literally was almost crying because literally Skinny Puppy, the first time I saw Skinny Puppy live was in 1987. My best friend Trent Reznor
Yeah.
took me when I was a kid,
Wow.
and he took me to see Skinny Puppy. And like I was just thinking about how amazing that was, my teenage years growing up with Trent, and getting into Skinny Puppy and industrial music in general. Ministry, I'm going
The
on tour
Marcy.
with Ministry. Yeah. And they're just amazing. Like that's industrial legends right there.
Yeah.
And then my friends in Health, and we're working on a new song together in Health, and my friends in Horror. We just wrote a song together in Horror, and with Horror. And man, there's just so many different projects that I've got coming up that I'm like rattling them off. But like, yeah, it was amazing. Edie and those guys are amazing from Horror. Gene, And yeah, Jake from Health was there. And then I saw Ray Luzier. And of course, I was in a band with Ray Luzier, who's the current drummer in Korn.
Right.
And we were in a band called Army of Anyone
Yeah.
together. And it was great, hey dude, what's going on? Ray Luzier, how are you? Like it was really great. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
then all the members of Korn, and then the Deftones. Chino's a great guy. And I didn't get to say hi to him, but I was in, I could feel the love all the way from the stage. They were amazing. And yeah, dude, it was an amazing festival.
I was so bummed I couldn't be there. It was my wedding anniversary. What am I going to do? I can't get out of that. So
Oh yeah, you gotta do your wedding stuff. Yeah.
yeah, got to celebrate that. So that's why I was curious how your experience at the festival was. And you had mentioned Trent, and certainly I wanted to talk a little Nine Inch Nails. You had that great
Mhm.
reunion with him last year on stage in
Yes.
Cleveland, which was awesome to see the video. You out there rocking out with them, and then even doing "Hey Man, Nice Shot" with Nine Inch Nails was really cool.
Mhm.
But I'm kind of curious, man, going back to your era of the band, uh, did you get to contribute musically, like for the Broken EP, or was that all?
I was listed as an influence on the Broken EP because my job in Nine Inch Nails was I was always worried about whether or not we were heavy enough, like
Ah,
mean enough. And so, because Pretty Hate Machine, there's a lot of light stuff on that. There's a
sure.
lot of like, but Head Like a Hole and, Down in It and Sin. Those songs really resonated with me. Something I Could Never Have was also amazing. Like, so I was always telling Charlie, we got to be heavy, dude. We got to be heavy because, Trent was making the records by himself. You know what I mean? So when he did Broken, it was like, holy shit, like, wow, now we're really industrial. Like, it was really great. But that's all I did in Nine Inch Nails. And that's what led me to kind of working by myself. And like, I went away and I wrote, Hey Man, Nice Shot and Dose and Under. And, I wasn't really, I wasn't really creatively doing much in Nine Inch Nails. And that's why I left
Ah,
to do Filter in 1993. And it was, to make it in two bands is a pretty tall order. And for the audience to like have patience with, not only the fact that I quit Nine Inch Nails, but that I was going to unleash, my whole new, rock and roll arsenal against, to them, and hope that they would like it. But yeah, it worked out, and I've sold millions and millions of
of
the
course.
record company always reminds me that I've sold millions and millions of records, and I've been able to tour the world, and for the last 30 years. And so it was a great decision, and I'm happy that it worked out, but it was pretty ballsy at the time. I mean, to
Yeah.
leave something that was so established and so amazing, and to strike out on my own. But it gave Danny Lohner, and it gave Robin Fink a chance to flourish in Nine Inch Nails, because it took two guitar players to replace me. That's what Danny always says. It took two guitar players to replace Richard Patrick.
I love that you were the keeper of heaviness for Nine Inch Nails. That's
Well, I mean, I mean, Trent's the mastermind. He's the
sure,
guy. He's the
sure.
guy. But my little kind of additive was just, dude, we gotta be heavy. It's gotta be heavy. It can't be, we can't be like, too light. It's gotta be dark. It's gotta be fucking heavy. Cause I was so into Skinny Puppy and Ministry at the time. And I just wanted to make sure that we represented, because Trent's a songwriter. Trent's a songwriter. Skinny Puppy is like, their songs are so avant-garde and crazy, and there's no real structure. There's just this kind of like menacingness to them all. And Trent was like, no, I'm a songwriter. I'm going to bring a verse, I'm going to bring a chorus, I'm going to bring a bridge, I'm going to, so that was what made him original within that industrial kind of genre,
Yeah.
but he was still more like, dude, Trent, like, Trent was into like all kinds of different bands, so he wasn't necessarily trying to be industrial. He was just being Nine Inch Nails, whereas I was kind of coming from it like, dude, we've got synthesizers that sound mean, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I that was just my little one thing of what I remember is always being the guy that was like, dude, we gotta fucking, and tackling on stage and everything like that. Like we wanted the mayhem. We
Yeah.
wanted it to be really aggressive live and stuff. And so he would tackle me on stage. He would like start fights with me and shit, like on stage and stuff. So, it was amazing. My back has never been the same, but it was awesome.
Who knew Trent could tackle so well on the open field, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm sitting there concentrating on playing guitar and he would come up and just deck me. It was amazing.
Speaking of the heavy, dude, I wanted to get your take. We're an old school radio station. We do mandatory Metallica every
Mhm.
night, which you're going to be a part of. And I was thinking that with you talking about being the ambassador of heaviness, I was hoping that along the way of your guitar playing, I'm sure you learned some Metallica riffs and were a fan of
Never
some of
did.
them.
I
No.
never did. I never did. The heaviness was more like, I don't take this the wrong way. I love Metallica.
Hmm.
They're awesome. But the band that really, really meant everything to me as far as metal, as far as straight up metal, is
Yeah.
Pantera.
Pantera. Okay.
Pantera was, because Phil approached it, he shaved his head and he was like punk. He looked like a straight edge punk guy. And I too had a shaved head and was
Right.
like straight edge kind of punk. Well, not straight edge because I drank, but like, and so did Phil. But like we were punkers, we kind of came at it from a different view. So when I saw him with Pantera, I was like, this is awesome because because they're not straight up, you know,
Right. Right. Right.
metal. Like, that's what I think of when I hear hair metal or whatever. Like, like a crazy ass scream like that. But like these guys brought like attitude and like, walk on home, punk, and just me, Specs, you talking to me? Like I just loved it. I just love Pantera. So maybe you could play a Pantera song too tonight.
I'll definitely play one for you. I was going to ask you, what are you thoughts on them kind of doing their celebration with the brothers
Yeah,
being gone and Charlie and
yeah.
Zach stepping in?
I think it's awesome. Not to sound crass, but life is for the living.
Hmm.
We're still here, and so is Phil and so is Rex.
Yeah.
And Zach was like Dime's best friend, and Charlie is amazing,
More than capable.
and more than capable. And like, let's celebrate Pantera. It was awesome. And, I think that that's kind of the important thing is that, like, look, the Rolling Stones were playing shows 5 days later when
Right.
Charlie Watts died,
Right.
and U2 is going to play without Larry Mullen, for the
Yeah.
first time in the history of the band. And, that's insane. But at the same time, Larry's like, go do it, like go play. He's having back surgery and he's recuperating from that. He's always had a bad back because he fell off the motorcycle when he was a kid. And so like he's out there, celebrate the music of U2. I mean, one of these days, we're not going to be here anymore. I
Yeah.
mean, Bono's 63, I'm 55. If you somewhat like our music, you gotta, keep coming. It's what keeps us alive. I mean, just imagine if the Beatles could have gotten back together with John Lennon, and I mean that would have happened somewhere in the 90s. The Beatles would have gotten back together and played a stadium tour.
Oh
You know
God.
what I mean? That they would have done it if both George and John had survived.
Yeah.
And even to this day, it's amazing to see Paul McCartney. Now he doesn't necessarily have to come out as the Beatles because he, is Paul McCartney. but I think like I just think music is so important, and rock and roll is becoming so established that I think that everybody should just partake and jump in and go in feet first. I mean, Skinny Puppy is never going to tour again. This is their last
Wow.
tour, and that's why I was almost crying, because I was like, man, this is just brings back so much memory, and it's so amazing. And Ogre's still amazing, and Kevin Key, and so yeah, get out there and check out all the music you can.
And go see Filter on June 16th at Rock N Brews inside Yaamava.
Yeah, inside the Yaamava. Don't spend too much money at roulette. Try and save some money and get some VIP stuff going on. Check that out.
There
Come
we
and say
go.
hi to us before the show.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the time.
You
Loving the new
got it.
music. Can't wait for the new album, and hope to see
The
you on
new
the
record is Amazeballs.
I love that you said it's heavy, dude. That's certainly
It's
up my alley. So I'm
it's
really looking forward to it.
it's really heavy. I mean, Face Down is kind of more commercial,
Or that
but
mid-tempo.
Obliteration is heavy, but yet very single sounding. Still sounds like like it should be on the radio. And then there's a few songs that are just so heavy you can't even get away with any. You could never like they're just like straight up Deftones type songs. They're just like amazing.
Awesome, man. Can't
Yeah,
wait to hear it. I love the heavy. It was a pleasure to speak with you. And like I said, can't wait for the album and the tour and everything. And the Freaks
excellent.
on Parade we didn't even get into, but
The what?
the Freaks on Parade tour we didn't
Oh
even get
yeah, hell yeah. Alice Cooper,
into.
Rob Zombie, Ministry, and Filter. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
incredible. Also, hopefully see you at that show, if not the Yaamava show. Thank you for the time, Rich.
Cool. Come and see us.
I will do.
Yamaba, baby.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
See you in a bit.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.